Welcome to Startup Discussions, a new segment of Startup Podcast wherein we discuss a certain business, technology, or innovation topic with three other startup or small business entrepreneurs. I'm your host, Johnny Boydon, and for this episode, joining us are our friends from Omnirio, Benjoys Food Products, and TechTrance to talk about the future of retail. So, introducing our panelists or our discussion members. So, we have Luisa Gamboa. She's growth manager at Omnirio, an easy to use and quick to implement platform for transitioning merchants to becoming omnichannel retailers. So, hello Luisa. Maybe can you share a bit lang about Omnirio and what do we mean by omnichannel?
Yeah, sure. Thank you for having us here, by the way, Johnny. So, just to share a little bit about Omnirio, Omnirio is actually basically a tool to help you sell everywhere. So, Omnirio is an omni-channel platform. Omni-channel meaning an end-to-end solution. So, an end-to-end solution for a retailer would mean being able to manage your operations from the moment you receive your orders, process your orders, have them delivered all the way up to post sales. So that includes also managing online to offline channels. That would include your warehouses, multiple retail stores, as well as your online channels where you sell on your Lazadas, your Shopees, your Shopifys, etc. So the platform will be your back-end operations tool to make sure that you can centralize everything and manage everything in one dashboard. So I guess that's just more of a little bit of a gist of it. But the tool is really geared towards helping you to be able to move a little bit more efficiently, to be able to process quickly, to be able to deliver faster to your customers to make sure they're happier, engaged, and they'll buy again. So it's really touching towards the pain points of the difficulties many would have in a retail setup, deliveries, operations, inventory, and all of that setup. Yeah. So yeah, I mean that would
Yeah,
be
I really
the
think
quick
that's
summary.
interesting, no, yung omni-channel. Kasi I think it's kind of new, like yung term na omni-channel. And it's basically like aggregating all your channels nga para madali siyang ma-manage. And you can maybe have more time for other practices, for other aspects of sales and retail. So introducing our second panelist, so we have Benjo Rivera. He's business unit manager at Benjoys Food Products, the home of premium bacon ends, providing only the best, safe, tasty, and affordable ulam selections for every Filipino household. So hello Benjo from Benjoys. So maybe can you share a bit naman about Benjoys? Maybe you can also share ano ba yung food products na parang nakakagutom. So ano ba yung mga in-offer nyo? Ano ba yung what do you sell or what do you produce also in Benjoys?
Hi Johnny, hi everyone. Good day. Benjoys Food Products is the flagship brand ng aming meat manufacturing facility. So we are a processed meat manufacturer. We produce products such as Hungarian sausages, cheese sausages, bacon ends. Yan ang aming flagship product. And then we also make marinated products like tocino, tapa, beef bulgogi. Actually, we have a lot of products under the sun, Pero talagang meat processing company kami. We've been existing for 4 years now. And so far, talagang ang habol namin, ang core purpose ng Benjoys is to share the joy of life through food. Yan.
Amazing. Nakakagutom yung sinabi mong tocino, tapa, beef bulgogi, saktong-sakto, medyo time for dinner now. Pero anyway, so yeah, it's also amazing na like you have this Benjoys na talagang focus to market this food out. Sabi mo nga, the joy in food. So let's go naman to our third panelist, Henry Shi. He's e-commerce head at TechTrance, a distributor of consumer electronics products ranging from mobile phones to tablet accessories to batteries and chargers. TechTrance is also one of the current customers or users of Omnirio. So hello Henry, maybe you can share a bit about TechTrance and what you do there.
Hello. Well, TechTrance is a distributor of and retailer of electronics products and accessories. Our wide range of products as of this year, 2021, includes phone and tablet accessories, computer hardware, accessories and bags, and home and living products. The TechTrance brand was created by yours truly in 2017, but our e-commerce division started as early as December 2016, with our first account being a simple Shopee account. Our flagship brand was created in 2017 on my last year at DLSU. Apparently, I got bored on my last year, so I decided to do online business on the sideline to keep things a bit exciting. So we currently have multiple e-commerce accounts throughout the TechTrance e-commerce systems, from Shopee, Lazada, Zalora, and now Shopify. And we currently use Omnirio in order to make our e-commerce operations highly efficient.
Yeah, I think that's interesting. Now we see nga yung e-commerce trends now. So maybe nag-shift somehow yung mga retailers and mga distributors and basically product sellers into e-commerce or to online retail. So ang topic natin actually for this discussion is the future of retail, which actually also aligns with the branding of Omnirio. And in fact, nung Philippine Startup Week 2021, merong kino-organize na event si Omnirio together with Prosperna and Forgives, and its title is The Future of Philippine Retail and E-Commerce. Wow. So, can we ask Luisa, ano ba ang ibig sabihin ng Omnirio with Future of Retail?
Okay. Well, I guess it came from the source wherein everyone really is related to anything retail. I mean, when you have a person, you're always buying somewhere. You buy from the mall, maybe you buy any consumer items from a grocery or a retail store and so on. But I mean, traditionally, we're quite familiar with the setup wherein you go to the mall talaga, you make a purchase, you do it physically. But I guess as times change, as the years have gone by, and as a lot of the situations around us have changed, we have to sort of adapt to make sure that we are able to reach the people who would need to buy our products, right? So the future of online retail means to be able to adapt, to be able to become visible wherever your buyers are buying, or to be wherever the other sellers are selling also. So, I mean, with Omnirio, the future of retail is really addressing the needs of both the buyers and the sellers. In this case, it is to make sure that wherever your buyers are buying, right? I mean, it's the online channels, your offline channels, and you make sure that it's just easier for you to manage everything. You have one platform to do it all. You're now available, making sure that it's online and accessible to everyone. And of course, as the buyers are also selecting, they're now making sure that whenever they buy, they're also checking in both Lazada and Shopee. And sometimes you can't tell which channels where people would buy from at some day versus another day. So it's really making sure that you're flexible, you're addressing your customers' needs, and also at the same time, you're making sure that you deliver to be able to make sure that these customers are buying again. So when the future of retail also evolves, it's not just going physically receiving the product at the onset when you buy it, but it's also being available online, being able to make sure you're delivering to your customers quicker. I mean, diba, we have Grab, we want everything instant these days. So the future of retail is really quicker, faster, and online, or at least maximizing the online to offline presence.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me know if that's you have any questions.
Yeah, go ahead. I mean, ang interesting lang na kaya pala omnichannel kasi omni nga. I mean, it's present in all channels, basically very visible to any customer. Yes. Yeah, so maybe Benjo can comment about that or maybe share his thoughts. Like, I know that Benjoys is very successful in bringing the joy in food nga, in bringing these meat products to Philippine households or basically to Filipinos. Pero can we know more about ano kaya ba yung current practices ng retailers or sellers or distributors maybe ng isang food product business. So maybe, Benjo, can you give us some picture like ano ba yung current ways ng retail or ng sales? And maybe, can you share like some pain points or some opportunities na pwede nating ma-solve or parang pwede nating, or basically ano yung nakikita mo towards the future of retail?
Alright, thank you. So ang ganda ng sinabi ni Luisa muna, no, yung omnichannel. I think that's the new buzzword now, especially with the pandemic, no. Ang Benjoys kasi talaga, Johnny and everyone, no. Nag-start kami reseller market talaga. So online reseller market. Yung actually ginagawa, meron kami mga distribution na vehicles, may sarili kami motorcycles and trucks. So we distribute to our resellers and distributors. Pero syempre, at the same time, we're tapping yung mga third party. So we also have Lalamove, puro delivery courier services Ganyan talaga tayo Pero sa ngayon, wala pa kaming online presence masyado pagdating sa Lazada or mga, meron ding food sa Zalora We used to have a Shopify, no? Pero sinutdown muna namin yung temporarily. So medyo ang dami kasing ang daming fires na kailangan i-put out. So currently, we sell via Facebook. Medyo traditional kami, no? Tawag-tawag, tapos message sa mga tao. And then yung delivery namin, either yun nga third party or may sarili kaming delivery team. So ganun yung namin ngayon, yung sales.
Yeah, so why naman kaya do you see the need to go online? I mean, maybe just share a few insights about that, Benjo.
Yeah. Actually, isa sa mga gusto talaga ng mga consumers ngayon, yung instant. Nakikita natin ngayon na gusto natin tsaka ang dami-dami ng choices sa market. So, how do you become present? How do you become top of mind? And how do you become in front of the consumer? Talagang yung online And yung current na ginagawa namin sa Facebook, pagka gustong umorder, tatawag pa or mag-text or magme-message. So may gap kami currently. Kaya doon kami actually nagkaka-difficulty doon sa communications with the customer. So that's one. Another pain point is reach. So since nasa reseller market kami, meron talaga kami mga areas na hindi namin naaabot currently. We want to go as far as Tawi-Tawi, no? At saka Batanes. Pero sa ngayon, kung ano yung abot ni Lalamove, ayan, at saka siguro Luzon area pa lang kami sa ngayon. So this reach, yan ang problem. Tapos yung instantness or yung communication with the consumers, yan ang two na nakikita ko ngayon top of mind Kasi lalo na with the bilis ng information ngayon, it's lahat online na. Hindi na pwede yung mag-aantay ka tapos hindi mo alam, hindi mo natatrack kung nasan yung order mo. Kaya pati sila, yung mga platforms like Grab and Foodpanda, may GPS na sila Currently, nile-leverage lang namin yung mga ganon, pero wala pa kaming ganon. So, yun, being an SME, yan ang mga struggles.
Really interesting, no? At sana nga makaabot ang beef bulgogi, tocino, at tapa ni Benjoy sa Batanes to Tawi-Tawi.
Yes.
So can we hear naman from Henry from TechTrance bilang you are currently one of the current users of Omnirio. So maybe like paano ba kaya nakatulong si Omnirio sa e-commerce ni TechTrance? And maybe can you share a few details about paano nag-transition to using yung omnichannel platform ni Omnirio?
Okay, I'll start with a brief history of our business. So our business is actually more than 20 years old. The original physical wholesale and retail businesses was founded by my mom in the early 2000s. So it was sometime in 2002, I think. Our e-commerce division, which is now TechTrance, was originally a spin-off of the original business, as e-commerce was still immature when I started selling in Shopee back in 2016. I actually started selling in Shopee on my last year of university and decided to do e-commerce in Shopee. And then, eventually grew into additional store in Lazada, and then we opened more stores until we reached our point in 2021. And I also saw back then that e-commerce was the future. And as I was fascinated, with how e-commerce worked in countries like in China and the US, our business back then was mostly manual and barely used any ERPs or automations like Omnirio. The other reason was to future-proof our business, actually, as I kind of foresaw what would have happened to our physical retail and wholesale businesses if I went with a career at BPI instead after I graduated. And unfortunately, my prediction eventually came true too because of COVID-19. Sadly, our physical store sales completely collapsed due to the pandemic. We had to close our old physical stores. But since our e-commerce division was already pretty mature last year, 2020, we actually suffered minimal losses as a whole, since TechTrance was able to fully absorb the old business. So we were lucky actually. If it wasn't for my decision to do e-commerce early back then, I think our business wouldn't have thrived or even survived in this new era. So from a small subsidiary dependent on our original physical store business, our online division ironically became the dominant and surviving business. This was a sudden switch in 2020, which was nothing none of us anticipated. But with Omnirio and other ERPs, this transition has been pretty smooth actually, because in this new age of e-commerce, we need to take advantage of the technical efficiency from using Omnirio and other ERP tools.
Yeah, ang galing nung sinabi ni Henry na dahil nasa e-commerce na si TechTrance, naging minimal yung loss ng pandemic or ng other disturbances. I think that's really amazing. And si Omnirio, doon siya pumapasok sa being like the easy to use na management ng sales nga in different channels. So now maybe can we hear from Luisa? So ano ba yung like features and technology with Omnirio? Like how really does it help being omnichannel? So maybe can you share about, or maybe can you walk us through like paano ba talaga nagagamit ang platform ni Omnirio?
Okay. Actually, coming off from what Benjamin and Henry was saying, they each shared a little bit of their pain points in the businesses that they handle. Most of it are kind of similar in the sense that you're sort of managing and sort of navigating through the manual setups, making sure that at this whole environment we have now, you're making sure that you're also being able to reach your customers, whether that's in whatever platform you're trying to sell. So digital, I mean, it can also include your Facebook, your Instagram. It can even be Viber or direct calls, or your online platforms like Lazada, Shopee, and all of that. So that's something we're quite familiar with. And of course, with the setup of Omnirio, kasi what we try to do is to make sure it's accessible to everyone. So it's actually very, very quick and easy to implement. I'd say it's the term plug and play method, literally, because when you start on the system, when you use the platform, you're just connecting all your channels through the integrations that we have available. So you're like logging into the platforms that you usually sell in your Lazadas, your Shopees, your Shopifys. Or if you sell in your retail stores, you make sure that you imitate the setup there. You manage the quantities of inventory, just transfer it onto the system. For your setup also, if you sell on Lazada or Facebook rather, those non-marketplace platforms, what can happen is you can track all the transactions real time also, so that you're making sure that everything is centralized. So anyway, to go back to how to use the system, how to implement it, is basically like making sure after you've logged in everything, your credentials to integrate onto the system, everything will flow in automatically. And the next step would be just for you to be able to use the system. You see now all of your orders coming into the platform from your channels. You'll now be able to utilize updating your inventory from the system itself. Of course, that's similar to how you would manage a Google Docs, right? Only in this case, when you update the inventory, it's now connected to all the orders you receive. So it will automatically reduce the stocks and everything. So it's actually fairly simple, very easy to use. And I'd say compared to a lot of ERPs, something that any person can navigate around. I think it's a little bit easier once you see it yourself, but the integrations make it quite easy. And the format, of course, is also actually very similar to how you would already use a normal channel, which is like a Lazada, or use how you would track normally your transactions coming in from a retail store or a Facebook order, and automating those processes. Yeah, everything comes in like within an hour of setting up.
Yeah, I actually quite agree kasi no last time nga pinakita sa akin ni Luisa yung Omnirio, yung platform ni Omnirio, and I would agree somehow with what I saw na it's really easy to use. I mean, for me, very understandable and simple yung interface. But can we ask Benjo, what do you think? I mean, we're not yet able to see right now because this is a podcast episode, so we cannot really see like yung platform. Pero what do you think, Benjo? Like, gaano ka-importante yung pagiging easy to use and quick to implement ng isang omnichannel platform for online retail? And do you think it can possibly help nga in solving Benjoy's current pain points? Or baka may suggestions ka pa na pwedeng madagdag na features kay Omnirio?
Okay. So, first, no, magtatanong lang muna ako, Luisa, no? Yung Omnirio ba, is it like a dashboard, integrates everything, all the platforms together? Or is it something that you can also interact with the platforms through Omnirio? Ano ba siya?
Actually, it's both. So you have your dashboard, and you have your interactions also. So if ever you receive orders, you can just log them there. You can update inventory, and it will be all interconnected. So the flow for your Lazada, Shopees will come in there also actually. So
nice.
Everything all in one.
Thank you. So yun yung question kasi, Johnny, right now. Really the market's very fragmented eh. Merong mas ma-Shopee ako, merong mas ma-Lazada ako. Tapos when you're on those platform, you also don't own it eh. Kaya maganda may Shopify ka rin. Kasi yung Shopify, that's yours. So, in case mag-down yung Shopee or mag-down yung Lazada, ganun, mawawala na yung yung channel mo, di ba? So, nakikita ko yung Omnirio, parang, it has potential, no? Even for us. Kasi, nare-realize ko na, oo nga, I can be in all those channels. I can touch all those customers at the same time. And especially sa SMEs, wherein the CEOs or the owners are doing multi-hat. Sila sa marketing, sila sa inventory, sila rin sa sales. Ang hirap nun. Lahat babantayan mo sabay-sabay. So, definitely, this is innovation for me, no? This is, galing. So, that's what I think. And, siya talaga, bago, and sana nga kung madaling gamitin eh. Kasi, yung ease of use na yan, pansin ko to in every system I tried, no? May resistance to change. Yeah, normal yan, resistance to change, no? So, the smoother you get it to roll out dun sa system, at saka mas madaling gamitin, mas madali siyang i-hand over or i-delegate sa team. Lalo na, hindi naman pwedeng, lahat ikaw gagawa eh. Kasi you're overseeing everything. Tapos, babantayan mo yung sales, nagpupush ka ng sales, and then nagmamanage ka ng inventory. With this dashboard, tapos siguro with a teammate, no? Or two or three, andali, feeling ko parang answer to sa iba sa mga problems namin right now. Yeah, that's what I feel.
Yeah, that's interesting. So maybe we can hear from Henry. So do you agree ba na, like how really did Omnirio help TechTrance? Maybe considering din yung mga nasabi ni Benjo. So maybe can you share like ano yung naging progress maybe ni Omnirio, ni TechTrance after adapting Omnirio? How easy to use really si Omnirio, and maybe may numbers ba tayo na we can share regarding the benefits or the progress maybe for TechTrance?
Oh yeah, Omnirio, it's really it's one of the most user-friendly ERPs I've ever seen so far. I mean, we used a different ERP before Omnirio, but it was hard to use, and its dashboard was pretty complicated. That's why I switched to Omnirio. There's a concept in computer engineering, actually, which is KIS. I'll keep it simple. So it's a good thing that Omnirio, they use that concept and they make things as simple as possible. And I think with the pandemic not likely to end soon because of the new Omicron variant, I think businesses should be more than ever digitizing as much as possible. I mean, we were lucky that I started our e-commerce pretty early back in 2016. We now use a lot of automation software and tools like Omnirio and other software solutions, as well as a few ERP programs that I made myself. And I think the biggest challenge of business people here in the Philippines is that before the pandemic, most business leaders were afraid of technology and were unwilling to invest or even try e-commerce. I actually treated our Shopee store back then, our Lazada store, even though they had few sales back then, and even Omnirio, I treated them as investments, for the long term. So I think business people, they really should treat technology as more as an investment instead of something that's hard to learn and acquire.
Yeah, that's some amazing insights there. So speaking of technology, so si Benjoys is from the food industry, while TechTrance is from the consumer electronics industry. So maybe can we know lang, Luisa, from Omnirio, like let's put this into situation. Like ano ba yung range ng industries or retailers na parang pwedeng makagamit kay Omnirio? Like, is it really omni-channel? I mean, omni-industry din. And maybe, can you share lang like in the Philippines, like the retail market in the Philippines, like how suited really is Omnirio for the Philippine retail market maybe?
Okay. I'd say at least to share some of my insights on the retail market. I mean, I'm sure firsthand we're all familiar also how the transition has happened. I remember before maybe high school or college, I bought something online. It was via I think Carousel or Sugar PH that back in the day or a few years ago even. It was that quick. You'd have to message the customer. Sometimes the only option would be to meet up. The barriers to doing that, of course, sometimes you don't trust people. What if it's not a legitimate product and all of that? And then we've seen the shift now to platforms that help you facilitate maybe making sure that it's a verified product, it's an actual sale that you can do, and you can actually make an online payment via yung GCash now, all the options that are available. So really the shift has changed, and anyone who uses the system and would be able to benefit from it, I'd say would be really varied. Literally anyone and everyone. So anyone who's looking to go online, anyone who's looking to sell any item. So the ones using our system are actually a range from retail, F&B, FMCG, e-coms also, all ranging from even enterprise to SME clients. So it's a little bit broad. And I guess it really depends on how you intend to use it or how your setup of your business really is. If people still prefer to have the option of a little bit more manual, that's still also available. Of course, you still have the options wherein people are now transitioning to, which is online also. That's also still the case. So definitely those customers that use the system can be actually really anyone and everyone. Yeah, and then like how we entered into the Philippine market really is mostly because actually the team that started Omnirio saw that there was little solutions provided specifically for our industry. You'd see everything popping up in neighboring countries and maybe your Singapore, your other countries that are usually not the Philippines. So this is something that they wanted to make sure that they can test out to make sure to service the industry that is also very underserved. I mean, yeah, really anyone, everyone, and the integrations available in the system really just provide flexibility too.
Yeah, that's really interesting. So Benjo, what can you say about that? And maybe just a question lang, naisip ko lang. So, do you think ba, even if walang pandemic, if walang COVID-19, like nagsara yung mga physical stores and yung naging mahirap yung like distribution, so do you think with e-commerce, or do you think parang inevitable pa rin yung pag-transition ni Benjoys to e-commerce and maybe yung pag-adapt nga ng omnichannel platform? So maybe just some insights on e-commerce as a whole. So yeah, Benjo, can you share some thoughts about that?
Alright. So, feeling ko, yung word mo, inevitable, grabe, nakakatakot, no? Pero, actually, the COVID-19 pandemic just fast-forwarded e-commerce here in the Philippines. Suddenly, ine-embrace na ng mga tao yung e-wallets. Dati si Coins.ph, hindi pinapansin. Si GCash, for sure, nag-boom. Si Paymaya, ganyan. And then ngayon, pwede ka na gumawa ng bank account online, on your phone. Si BPI, pwede ka na gumawa ng ng account agad eh. So, right now, actually, to be honest, no, the future of retail, currently nakikita ko, ang main channel pa rin where people will buy is palengke and modern trade. So, supermarket and ganyan. But I also believe na we cannot ignore the online channels now. Kasi definitely it's gonna be a big chunk of the market who will be buying online. Kasi gaya na sinabi ni Luisa, a lot of it has to do with the credibility of the source. So kung makikita mo yung mga resellers ngayon, may mga photo yan ng ng proof of seller or thank you feedback, customer feedback, ganyan. For me, yes, it's going to be a big change, pero ngayon ine-embrace na siya ng lahat eh. Dati parang nakikita ko siya like 5 years into the future eh. Pero ito na. So I have to adjust. We have to adjust. All the SMEs have to adjust, no? We have to be present there online. Kasi just leaving money on the table, no? Sayang. I mean, businesses are there to grow and to help and to share their service and to share the joy nga, 'di ba, of the food. And since people are now online and gusto nila yung convenience of pressing a buy now button and cash checkout button in all these channels, para sa akin nakikita ko talaga si Omnirio for the sales side of the business eh. Yun, sa ngayon yun parang hindi ko pa siya na-explore. I'd be really interested to check out the application, no, and how I can use it if ever in the future of Benjoys. Pero sa ngayon yun, malaking tulong siya kung talagang magiging seamless yung transactions ko with the other platforms.
Yeah, I think that's true na maybe offline and online are here to stay pa rin. So, actually, share ko lang din na like with electronics nga, with phones, for example, mas confident ako bumili sa offline for some reason. Kasi, I mean, alam naman natin yung mga issue minsan, like minsan may mga nangyayaring hindi ka nais-nais. At saka, parang mas safe, mas nakikita ko yung physical. So, maybe question ko din with TechTrance. So, in the future ba, will you still have the physical stores? I mean, what do you think in the future basically? I mean, will you go full e-commerce ba maybe? Or maybe online and offline, and that's doon nga papasok yung parang talagang benefits with Omnirio. So maybe what do you think really about the future of e-commerce and retail?
Oh yeah, we actually still keep the idea of opening our physical stores again eventually in mind. Yan, tama din yung sinabi ninyo na actually with our 5 to 6 years of e-commerce business, we've noticed that more expensive products they sell better at physical stores, but lower value products like most of our phone accessories and mobile accessories, they sell better online. And for the past few years, actually for the past 2 years specifically, even though business has been good for us overall because of our stable electronics product lines, it still has taken a toll on our other product lines, specifically our more expensive computer bags and the more expensive, less essential product lines. Sales for those were actually pretty good before COVID-19 struck. We even registered a new brand for our women's bags and women's fashion products. But the pandemic put those plans on hold, and we had to reduce our imports of laptop and business bags as sales dipped due to work from home and physical class bans. On the bright side, the increasing demand for electronics meant that electronics retail well, at least for now, for online, was pretty good due to the increasing demand for electronics. Um, for businesses to survive this minefield that is COVID-19, I think businesses need to be more as flexible as ever with their business model. I mean, until now, we still use a hybrid model actually, um, specifically for our ERPs or softwares. We primarily use Omnirio, but we still also use the other ERP. Basically, we use the best of both worlds. And after the pandemic, once everything is back to normal, we'll also implement the hybrid model for our retail sales. So we keep physical stores open and we also do online. And with Omnirio, that's going to be pretty easy because Omnirio, they also have a feature wherein you can allocate inventory to your physical stores. But currently, we're not yet able to do that because yan nga, nakakatakot yun mga new COVID-19 variants, if you watch and hear the news.
Omicron.
Yeah. So let's all hope for the best and I'll share a, a, a piece of advice my mom and aunt always gave me, whenever a new opportunity comes, you should just take the dive and try it out, because what my mom and aunt says, you'll never know unless you try it out.
Yeah, it's very interesting. It's very insightful. Actually, yeah, parang we should be open then to innovations kasi there's the risk na may bago, pero the rewards can really be beneficial maybe if we just try it. So, yeah, this is a very interesting conversation and discussion, but maybe let's start to wrap things up. So, let's start wrapping up with Omnirio. So, maybe ano ba talaga yung like vision or mission ni Omnirio going into the Philippine retail market? And maybe you can share some of your future plans, or maybe like how do you plan to get more potential customers, and maybe invite our MSME listeners dito. Maybe maging interested din sila sa Omnirio. So, and if ever, maybe you can share like how can they know more about Omnirio and how can they connect with you?
Okay, definitely. Well, to wrap this up, definitely what Omnirio's vision would be is to make sure that, well, we be part of the future of online and offline retail, actually, omnichannel. So similar to what Henry was saying, really, you wouldn't know what awaits you, what kinds of opportunities you can get if you don't try it. So that's really jumping into not just the setup that you're used to, the traditional setup, but also exploring opportunities online and offline, and making sure that you can work whatever your exact presence is, whether you have only one, whether you have both. So our vision is really to make sure that we help the Philippine market to improve on your situation and whatever that you may be doing. Whether you're selling B2B, B2C, or if you're transitioning or looking to approach both areas. What we hope to do in terms of future and potential plans actually is that we'll be adding in more features onto the omnichannel setup. Mainly what you'll see right now on our system is actually an order inventory management system. We have a few functionalities to make sure that you can automate also your post-sales engagement, so that's marketing, loyalty rewards, and even accounting. But I understand there are also some missing features, which actually Henry mentioned. So it might be related to some other software that you might need, ERP, WMS, which we're looking to add in also. Some new features would include making sure that really everything will be available on the system. So you can also create new products directly from Omnirio into your stores. What we're looking at is also to centralize chatting so that you don't need to go to different apps anymore. But generally, it's everything to be able to manage everything onto the system. It's really hard to get the whole picture. What I'm sharing here is really a really high-level overview of what it can do for you. It really differs when you actually see it. So yeah, I would invite you to try Omnirio. We do have a free trial. Usually that would be 2 weeks. If you go to our website, you can sign up. If you sign up, feel free to reach out to me. What we do naman is we would schedule a call, a one-on-one call with you to be able to sort of identify and scope on what your requirements are and really position the system to fit what your setup is. So yeah, you can reach me, Luisa Gamboa, luisa.gamboa@omnirio.com. Feel free to reach me via email. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much, Luisa. Yeah, I'm really excited also about yung mission nga ni Omnirio na parang tinutulungan niya yung MSMEs na mag-adapt ng hybrid model, having offline and online stores, and mas madali silang i-manage, kumbaga. So, how about Benjo naman? So, let's wrap things up. And you can also use this time to plug about yung mga tosino, tapa, nakakagutom na food product ni Benjoys. And maybe ano yung like takeaways natin sa discussion na to on how you can bring more of your food to the Filipino households, and maybe share more like ano ba yung future plans with Benjoys, and maybe how can people, or maybe baka may nagka-interest bumili ng mga food products from Benjoy, so how can they connect with you, or how can they buy maybe? Yeah.
All right, thank you, Johnny. So wrapping up, no, really for us SMEs who are struggling to adjust to the challenges presented by COVID-19. I really appreciate companies like Omnirio that create opportunities to improve our business processes and to improve our service to our customers. So kami, actually effect sa amin ng COVID-19, tumaas yung demand kasi everyone stayed at home and food is essential, di ba? Pero nahirapan kami talagang i-serve yon kasi ang daming constraints. And syempre, we want to increase our reach, yun nga, gaya ng mga pain points na nabanggit ko kanina. And for me, having something like Omnirio and being parang existing on all the available platforms of selling right now is really going to be a big boost in our brand presence. And syempre with the reach, na yun nga yung isa sa mga pain points namin, no. So if Omnirio can help us do that, no, sige, game ako to try it out. And sige, excited din ako dyan. Just to plug, no, for the listeners here, you can find us on Facebook, Benjoys Food Products. We also have an Instagram page, same, Benjoys Food Products, no. Just search us there. You can order there basta abot ng reseller channels natin. So hopefully by the time na mapakinggan nyo to, no, kahit malayo kayo, abot kayo ngayon. So masarap ang aming Bacon Ends Premium. Yan ang aming flagship product, and wala pa kaming naririnig na nagsasabing hindi siya masarap. So thank you very much, Johnny, Luisa. Thank you, TechTrance, no, for this opportunity to be here and for opening Omnirio to me. Thank you.
Yeah. And I can guarantee na masarap yung bacon ends and sausages. I've tried that myself, so yeah, I can vouch for that. I really love yung product ni Benjoys.
Oh, thank you.
So for Henry naman and TechTrance, so maybe let's just wrap things up. So maybe takeaways and maybe like vision maybe for growing or scaling TechTrance, maybe future plans, and if people want to know more, or if listeners want to partner or want to buy from TechTrance, so how can they find you?
Yeah, so to wrap things up, I think that, overall flexibility is key. We're actually still expanding our market reach, and we just opened a new Shopify store. That Shopify store is also integrated with Omnirio. We actually cater to all types of customers, so be it low-end, mid-range, or high-end customers. This is why we have multiple e-commerce accounts. Each one targets a different market segment and customer group. This way actually lessens our overall business risk, as you do not have a limited range of customers. It's not an easy thing to do, but it has been a key factor to our stable growth. So, and with Omnirio, it's made managing all of these accounts easier than before. We're also currently in the process of applying for a business contract for high-end computer products. hopefully that contract and application is approved by Feb or March 2020. So we can start selling those high-end computer products in our flagship Shopify store. This would actually hopefully also coincide with the grand launch of our newest Shopify account, which is techtrance.co or techtrancestore.com website, which will be ready for its grand launch on Feb or March 2020. In the meantime, everybody can order from our Shopee, Lazada, or Zalora store. They just need to search TechTrance. And thank you all for this opportunity today to speak at your podcast.
Yeah, alright. This is a very interesting and insightful episode. So bukod sa nakapag-share tayo ng anong ginagawa ng ating startups or small businesses or MSMEs and nakapag-connect tayong tatlo, ang dami ko natutunan myself about retail, about the future of retail, about e-commerce, trends, insights, mga thoughts, and perspectives. So yeah, thank you really, Luisa, Growth Manager at Omnirio, Benjo, Business Unit Manager at Benjoys Food Products, and Henry, e-commerce head at TechTrance for this very informative first episode of Startup Discussions at Startup Podcast where we talked about the future of retail. So talagang there's really a lot to look forward to in these upcoming startups and businesses and especially yung buong Philippine retail market and industry. So yeah, that's how we'll end our episode. Thank you everyone. Thank you for listening. See you,
Thank you,
in our
Johnny.
next discussion. So thank you. Thank you, Luisa.
Thank
Benjo.
you.
Thanks, Luisa.
All right, thank you.